There we go. All right, so this is more of a microphone check than anything else. So I don't even know if I'm going to keep this or who will actually know that this happened. Who knows? The other thing is I got a new microphone, but my laptop only has, so many USB ports. And until I guess I can get an adapter, when I'm out here, at least sometimes when I live stream to try to help the horrible connection I have, I'll plug directly into the modem, which doesn't help much, which in itself I need an adapter for because this doesn't have an Ethernet port. But I can't do that right now. I still have the mic, so very interested if anybody can actually hear this. I think it's supposed to work. I don't know. It's the first time using this mic. I don't know if there'll be a difference or not. I'm going to do like an actual recording of something instead of something live later instead of a stream. But I thought for now we'll just do a stream. And as far as the choice of movie goes, I just thought, since I don't even know if I'm going to keep it or anything like that, how about a movie I really don't like? How about a movie I hate? And if anybody's wondering or hasn't heard me go on this before about M. Night Shyamalan, I don't like him either. I don't hate him as a person, but I just mean I hate him as a director. I don't think he's done any good movies. And don't say, what about this one or that one? I've thought of them all. I don't like them. I don't like The Sixth Sense. Although I don't think that's truly bad like a lot of his, but I still don't think it's good. So I'll put it this way. He's done a lot of bad, awful movies, and then a few that aren't terrible, but nothing that I would consider good at all. So, I guess The Sixth Sense isn't terrible, but, I know a lot of people like Unbreakable. I really don't like Unbreakable. And I wanted to because of the comic book angle and things like that, but and that turned into a weird, awkward trilogy many years after the fact. And, Split and what's the other one? Glass. I don't know. Not get into them. Can't get anything. So this one is not one of his worst, but it's definitely bad. And this is maybe when he was sort of at the height of his fame, really, having done, I don't know, what was it? Sixth Sense was in 1999. Unbreakable was in 2000. A lot of people were impressed with those. He did Signs, which I liked way back then, but then on rewatching it really doesn't hold up and is full of his terrible writing and things like that. And anyway, but those were all well-received movies critically and with audiences and made money. And so The Village, I remember this well. There was a lot of hype for this for whatever reason. Well, I guess I just gave the reasons. A lot of people did like the movies. There was a lot of hype. There was a very strong advertising campaign behind this movie. Kind of reminded me a little of the lead up to Blair Witch, where it's oh, what's he going to do? The master of suspense and twists and all that bullshit. And I actually went to see it in theaters, as I did the previous two. I saw both Signs and which I didn't see The Sixth Sense in theater, but I saw the other two, Signs and Unbreakable. So I saw this in theater as well. As far as the end twist goes, Ryan was with me, but we were with other people, I guess. I don't think he was sitting next to me because Ryan has always said he called the twist and he actually said it to somebody next to him. I guess I wasn't the one next to him because he didn't say it to me, or maybe he said it to maybe I was on his right. I don't know. But anyway, I'm fairly sure I was there. It's not important, but he called the twist before it happened. I don't know if I really had given it much thought because I was not very engaged with the movie. And as we get into it, we can talk about why it sucks and why M. Night Shyamalan is a bad director and most of all, a really bad storyteller and bad writer. He's just awful cliches and stuff. So anyway, I'm watching this in Canada on Disney Plus, so it's actually through Star. So the first thing that comes up for me is the Touchstone logo, I believe. So I've got that queued up. Disney Plus has been acting weird on me lately, so for all I know, it'll cut out in any moment. I don't know. I had trouble. I was trying to play something. I almost was going to do a movie that I actually like, Adventures in Babysitting, until I remembered that Disney Plus censors it. I'm not watching that shit. So instead I thought, let's go in a completely different direction. Instead of watching a movie I know really well and like a lot and have a lot of fondness for, here's a movie I really can't stand. And it's not even one I had to change my feelings about, something like Signs. When I saw this in theater, I knew it was bad then, all those years ago. And I've seen pieces of it on TV since. I don't think I've sat down and watched the thing start to finish, because why would I? But I thought, for the sake of tonight and the mic check, and we'll see if this fancy mic that I've invested in is an improvement or not, we'll try it out. So, I don't imagine anybody's watching live or anything. I didn't give any heads up or notice, because this is another one of those spontaneous ones. I have some good ones planned that won't be just me, that will involve other people like Jay and some other people, hopefully, too. So, again, this is sort of building towards that. Something that's much more interesting than just me rambling by myself, especially this time, about a movie I don't even like. But let's do it, okay? Well, might as well. So let's get into it. I'll just do a 3, 2, 1, and after that, it's not on one, it's after we hit play. So for the Touchstone logo. So let's get this garbage started, shall we? This is Signs. It's not Signs, this is The Village. I almost wish it was Signs, because Signs is bad, but not quite this bad. Here we go. 3, 2, 1, hit play. As usual, I'm sure I'll have to bother with the volume here, especially now that I have a fairly sensitive mic and I don't know what the settings are on. So if anybody is watching this, they can tell me if it's picking up a lot from the TV. I guess that's the thing about having a more sophisticated mic. I've got it pointing towards me, like a radio DJ. So we'll see how that goes. So if anybody is watching, you can let me know what the volume, what the sound sounds like, if they hear me well or not at all, or if they notice a difference from other live streams. I don't know. I tried to set this up in settings as one does. So let's see. We have Bryce Dallas Howard wasn't really known back then. Of course, she was a daughter of someone famous. Joaquin Phoenix, Adrian Brody, all big names. Adrian Brody star. Oh, Sigourney Weaver. I even forgot Sigourney Weaver was in this. That makes me sad. I remember William Hurt, of course. Really, the stuff I remember about The Village more is how most of it showed up. I think it was in Scary Movie 3 or 4, where the main characters. Oh, Brendan Gleeson. Yeah, lots of big names, where they just wander into a parody of The Village, which I think is pretty good. Judy Greer, who back then it wasn't quite as distracting. I always find Judy Greer very distracting in movies nowadays, but back then, no big deal. Jesse Eisenberg? Wow, I don't think anybody really knew who Jesse Eisenberg was in 2004. Let's do this. The movie, the one thing I'll give it right away that as a positive is it has pretty good cinematography. They do a good job of making the woods look scary, with the lighting and the angles and the various cuts. Okay, I can already tell that's way too loud. So we'll put that down. Anyway, anybody ever want to chime in about volume? Written, produced, and directed by M. Night Shyamalan, the great artiste. Here we go. Yeah, I'm going to be saying bad things about him as we go, just as a filmmaker. So I know it opens with like a funeral. It might even be a kid's funeral. I don't know. For something I haven't seen in so long. I remember like the general beats. I don't really remember the details of various scenes. I know William Hurt's like the leader of this stupid community. It does make me sad. So many talented actors are involved in this. But I mean, for like the first few movies, including this one, his name was good for the box office. He fell pretty hard to the point like they wouldn't even let him do his own stuff for a while, and he had to do they're like, you can do the Last Airbender movie, and he did that, and it was god awful. I'm not like a huge fan of that cartoon, although I did like it a bit. Watch bits of it out of order, but I mean that movie's crap. Can't lay it all at his doorstep, I'm sure, but I don't know. So even when he's like not doing one of the things he wrote himself, like it shows a date there. It's 1897. I don't think I ever noticed that. I don't think I realized it was that late, or where it was supposed to be. I thought maybe it was like more close, like 1860s, 1870s. So we've got like some typical community, I guess, of the era, very religious. I'm gonna remind you a lot of like, I don't know, who are the people? The Amish, Mennonites. I don't know. They remind you a lot of those people who, of course, are still like this now. Oh, there's a hint. So there's a very weird and disheveled-looking Adrian Brody, as he's doing the thing that so many actors struggle with, and sometimes, I don't know, when they play somebody that's like, mentally retarded, has like a mental condition. So here we go. Getting the jokes from, what is it? Oh, what is it? The Ben Stiller one. Oh, Tropic Thunder, where they're talking about you never go full retard and all that stuff. Sure they had a movie like this in mind in Adrian Brody. There's Adrian Brody already grinning and laughing and clapping, and ooh, we already know he's different. I mean, this is Adrian Brody right off the win for best actor at the Oscars for The Pianist. So for the next few years, he'd be kind of big and then fall off. I like Adrian Brody, I do. After this, he kind of redeems his own eyes because he was in the King Kong remake from 2005, which I actually like quite a bit. I think it's a fun adventure movie that I like a lot. Jack Black's surprisingly good in that too. Oh, how symbolic. A single red flower. I guess it means something. I don't know. Many years later, the movie The Witch came out, which is set well before this movie. I think it'd be like 1600s, but it was sort of like kind of what I wanted when I saw this. I mean, in The Witch, it's a little different because it's a lone family who are like expelled from a village or choose to leave a village. But I'd like to see something kind of almost in The Witch's world. But anyway, speaking of that director, is that Egger? I haven't seen his latest. I really wanted to see The Northman when it was in theaters and couldn't get there. But I'm sure I'd like it. So we know they're Americans in America, most likely, by their accents and things. Maybe somewhere in the Northeast, Midwest. Well, I guess one thing, I mean, to give away the twist, because I mean, why not? Like, it says that we're in 1897 now, but this has been going on for a while. Like, children have been born into it, so like they obviously set the year quite a bit earlier because eventually you see that like William Hurt and a bunch of other characters, some of the older characters, we see the photograph of them when they're all quite a bit younger. So you think it's maybe been 20, 25 years or something like that, I figure. Now, of course, M. Night Shyamalan's movies have horrible dialogue, but it's almost a little hidden in this movie because of the fact that they're speaking, I guess, I don't know, somewhat like as people of that era would have in that part of the world. I don't know. So it kind of hides how truly awful some of his dialogue can be. Although, I mean, you get it full force in things like The Happening or The Lady in the Water or whatever. Or Devil. He's always got characters with really stupid quirks because he can't actually give them personalities or anything. So he just gives them some weird quirk to remember them by, like a guy in The Happening that blathers on about hot dogs for some reason. So in this, it's a little different. He doesn't necessarily give his characters quirks. Again, I think it's because it's all blended in a little bit in this 19th century setting. All right, so they've got a council of elders that run it. There's Brendan Gleeson. And Joaquin Phoenix. As much as I hated this movie, after I saw Batman Begins and everyone was speculating about what the next Batman movie could be in that trilogy, I really wanted Joaquin Phoenix to play Harvey Dent. Somewhat ironically, all these years later, he would play the Joker himself. But speaking of what they said, those that we do not speak of, the Joker is a movie I will not speak of. I hate it. I hate it way more than this movie. Joaquin Phoenix's performance is good. I just hate the whole, it's the wrong performance. It's not his fault. But anyway, this is before all that. Joaquin Phoenix, 2004. I mean, he was on people's radar because he gave a pretty memorable performances than the mean, crazy Emperor in Gladiator. I think Gladiator is a really overrated movie, but it's okay. So I guess that's sort of what Joaquin Phoenix on people's radars. It's like, oh yeah, remember River Phoenix? This is his not handsome, not talented brother. Oh, that's kind of unfair. But I'm a huge River Phoenix fan. I feel like River Phoenix, if he had lived, he would have been like right up there, an A-list guy for sure, and not just like because he's good pretty boy or stuff like Tom Cruise. I think he would have been one of the greats. Where's that? Okay, so we see that this village, they always have like a watch at night. Suggests that they're in dangerous territory, although we don't quite know. Is it because there's wolves in the woods? I don't know. I wish somebody would show up because I really don't know how well the volume is going. I muted it and unmuted it. The red light is on, so it means it's on. I might get so much fancy it has a red glow, which is supposed to let me know it's working. All right, so what do we got here? An animal. I mean, it just looked like all its fur was taken off. Everybody's having a big cow meeting about removing the fur. Leaving the fur. Okay. It is weird. Like, what kind of game are the elders playing at this point? It's like, oh, we're gonna pretend like, oh, it's not to play it down, but the whole point is for people to find out, oh, it shouldn't be played down. We should really fear. So it's like, it's definitely just like a coyote. But then they're gonna, I'm not. Oh, that's. Yeah, I was gonna say, who is that? She looks so tired and haggard, but there's Sigourney Weaver. Makes me sad because she's a really great actress, and this movie is far beneath her. So a few times now they've used the "those we don't speak of" has been brought up. For those we don't speak of, we seem to bring them up a lot. We bring them up, we just don't speak of them. All right, so I'll have to get into this about Bryce Dallas Howard, who has, been doing movies, and I've never seen her give a good performance. But most of the time, I don't like Jurassic Park or things like that. Like, I don't really have a problem with her, but in this movie, I have a huge problem. I think she's awful, and this might be one of the worst. This might be the worst performance I've ever seen of a sighted actor playing a blind character. It is terrible. Not all of it is on her. I think I blame a lot of it on Shyamalan's direction again because he's so bad with characters and people. So here we go. She's pretty and she's blind and maybe kind of a free spirit who asks a lot more questions than girls her age should ask in this era, supposedly, or this setting. And of course, her father is the main village elder. William Hurt. Okay, I gotta get some of these names instead of just using names. I don't know anybody's names. I know that she's saying that she likes Joaquin Phoenix's character. Somebody hunt. Burst. So for now, it's not apparent that she's blind, which is fine. It's not like you should always know right away. That's not me. That's not a criticism. Wow, she comes right out and says, "I love you." Or that's not Bryce Dallas Howard, is it? Is that Judy Greer? I'm so bad with actresses. I think that's Judy Greer. Yeah, that's Judy Greer. So okay, so we haven't seen the other one. Seems too loud. So she's babbling. She's declaring her love for him, and he's just staring at her. I don't know. I feel like that was probably pretty loud. Oh, I guess he turned her down. Just cut to her crying and being consoled. We don't even get to see her rejection. I don't know. I think it would be funny to see him like turn her down. Okay, so false alarm. That's Judy Greer. We haven't seen Bryce Dallas Howard and her transcendent blind girl performance. Yeah. I don't remember Judy Greer's character at all. I don't remember her doing anything in the movie. Maybe that was it. Maybe that was her big moment. Is that Bryce Dallas Howard there who's comforting her? I don't fucking know. Probably. Rejection. We already know that Joaquin Phoenix is the strong, silent type because he hasn't said a goddamn word yet. Oh, they were going to say you're not fond of speaking. See, now it seems too low. Again, I don't know what this wonky mic's doing. Nobody's let me know. Nobody's even here. I get it. Nobody wants to hear me talk about a movie I hate. What the hell's going on here? Is Jesse Eisenberg one of these little idiots? Doesn't look like it. Or is he the one standing there? That might be Jesse Eisenberg. See, again, really bad. I think it's him. See, I can't hear their voices. Voices are what help me recognize people a lot more than faces. So they're doing a dare. He's right on the edge, you know. You're not allowed to go past the boundaries of the village. And he's right on the edge with his back to the woods. So they're doing a little dare thing, a little rite of passage for boys. Sure, why not? We're just past 16 minutes in the movie. If anybody wants to check it. I can smell you. I missed that line. What are they talking about? Something's under the stairs? Are you going to say something, Joaquin? Right. It's like, maybe there is something in the woods. Man, how long does he have to stand there? These guys don't half-ass it with their dares. They have to stand there all night. Yeah, that's enough for him. Growl, whimpering, and howling, and getting the captions here for the sounds they're supposedly hearing. Right, so the boundaries are all a bunch of torches every night. I think that was Jesse Eisenberg. I wonder how pissed like the kids are gonna be. They're gonna come out of this and like right now we're having a scene of like them running around like ha 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 and hitting each other with sticks. Like kids are gonna come out of this and be like, "There's PlayStation and Xbox and TV and what the hell?" Right. So that's Bryce Dallas Howard. Right. So yeah, she is a bit of a free spirit, but she's also I don't know how to describe her, but she's got the cane. I'm to place you in the quiet room. It was a quiet room. That seems interesting. Oath to never strike any person again. Oh, she's so wise. So is the quiet room for everyone, or is it just for our differently abled person? Oh, somebody is watching. Okay, that's cool. Hi, Anthony. How is the audio? Because that's really the only reason I'm doing this, is I'm trying to test a new mic. I'm wondering if it works at all, or if it's any better. And if you missed the beginning, I hate this movie, and I thought it would be interesting to do a movie I hate. And I hate M. Night Shyamalan. I hate all his movies. But I picked this one because I haven't seen it in a long time, and it's also one that was before I totally started hating him. That's good, because, I mean, there wasn't really much to do with the settings or anything. So anyway, I'm going to do a recording of like maybe an unboxing or something where I can do a better job. But I thought for now just do a spur of the moment stream, because I do have some actually good streams with better stuff planned that won't be just me, that'll involve other people. But for now, I just thought I've had the mic for a few days and not really done anything with it, so let's check it out. See how it goes. I just hope it isn't picking up too much of the volume of the movie. I don't know. Gotta learn some of these names. Bryce Dallas Howard, blind girl, Joaquin Phoenix, strong silent type idiot. Yeah, I was saying that I think it's one of the worst performances of a blind person I've ever seen, of a sighted person playing blind. It's awful. I don't put it all on her, though, because I think M. Night Shyamalan is awful at dialogue. He's awful at characters. So I'm sure he had all sorts of terrible direction for her to go with her stupid dialogue. As I said before, like, the dialogue in this movie is not as painfully bad as a lot of his others, simply because it's under the mask or cloak of them speaking as if they're from the 19th century. So it kind of, I wouldn't say it hides it completely, but, you know, it makes it a little different. I mean, as far as contemporary people, he has no idea how people talk. Everybody says such stupid shit. Especially kids. My God, he's bad at kids. All his kids talk like, I don't know, kids trying to be adults, I guess. So I did see this movie in the theater back in 2004. Ryan was there. Some other people I don't remember. At the time, you know, I didn't have any real opinion on M. Night Shyamalan. I think I was one of the only people in the world who at that point had not seen The Sixth Sense. But I had seen Signs, and at the time thought it was fine. Although I would change my opinion on that fairly quickly in the years to follow. Not holding up. Joaquin Phoenix is in that too, isn't he? Okay, so Lucius is Adrian Brody, our differently abled person. Differently abled in a different way, mentally. Differently abled mentally. Oh, right, red's like not allowed. That's why I was saying, oh, the symbolism there of them picking the red flower. At first, I thought they were replanting it, but they were burying it. Right, you're not supposed to have any red. Red is forbidden. My God, I mean, isn't it enough that you're forbidden to like leave the stupid place, but they've got a forbidden color for God's sakes. Ooh, you're so deep. The bad, they call it the bad color. This is okay. And I don't want to pick on just Shyamalan because he's not the only one that does this, but there's like, especially if you watch a lot of like those YA, not necessarily even fantasy movies, but like those YA movies that are like set in like another future, like the Maze Runner and stuff like that. Like, I hate how like there's a name for them. We're the runners. That's the watchers. This is the and it's in the Matrix too. I couldn't stand it. It's not really in the first Matrix, although they did have the Oracle. They have the one in the Oracle. It's like the one, the Oracle, the Gatekeeper, the Merovingian. Oh, I just hate all these dumb names. Never speak of it again. Yeah, I'm sure they don't. Well, when I was saying before how much I hate his movies and don't think he's done any good ones, well, I don't think The Sixth Sense is good. It's definitely not like awful like I think a lot of his movies are. I mean, a lot of people liked this movie, and then the twist ruined it for them. It doesn't really make any difference to me. I mean, it is true that I like horror that's sort of set like in the past like this. It's one of the reasons why, even though it's not by any means a good movie, they did that Wolfman movie in 2010 with Benicio del I get my Benicio. Is it Benicio del Toro? Anyway, and Anthony Hopkins. And it's not a good movie. but I liked it anyway because I was so sick of seeing like werewolf movies like set in the contemporary world. I don't think werewolves fit that well into the contemporary world as well as something like a vampire or zombies. I enjoyed a more sort of gothic setting for it, so it's not a good movie, but I liked it. So that's one of the reasons why I kind of like had hopes for this because like, oh, maybe an more old timey feel. Yeah, see, I don't like any of them. I really wanted to like Unbreakable because it had that comic book angle and stuff like that. But Unbreakable was one of the most frustrating movies I've ever watched, and not all of it is again. Though yeah, maybe it's the direction because I think that Bruce Willis it can be a good actor, but Bruce Willis drives me insane in that movie. Somebody will say something to him, and then like a beat will pass. And then another beat will pass. And then maybe another beat will pass before he finally answers them. And then he barely like whispers it. Like watching that movie, I just want to scream at the screen, say something. Like I cannot stand his muttering, barely talking character. And to put him in 2 more movies, although he's not really in Split. I can't believe that eventually turned into like some long delayed trilogy. Ugh. What a weird ending. He like drowns in a puddle or something. Fuck. Bunch of weirdness. So what do we got going here? I gotta pick up these people's names. Somebody's Noah. Tired of addressing them as their actor names. Right, so there's like you have to wear like special yellow cloaks when you go near the border. Is yellow supposed to like ward off the supposed others, those they don't speak of? I'm missing some of this. I don't know. Oh, Anthony, I'm sorry for not recognizing you. That you go back all the way to those days. That was a while ago. That's cool. Okay, so again, is your name Lucius? This is Joaquin Phoenix, and of course he's different. He's gonna try walking to the woods to see what happens. He's a restless young man who's always done what his elders told him to do. But now he's thinking maybe it's time to try new, different things. I've never seen that in a movie before. His eyes driving me crazy, so I'll be pulling at it for the next while. I have to say, like, I'm a person that rewatches stuff, and I actually rewatch like a show at Jay, movie discussion, Pocket Dimension. I watch that a lot. Sometimes it's just for background, and also I'm a really big critic of myself, so sometimes I get mad at myself when I make mistakes, and I'll even go in and comment and try to correct myself, even though I know most people don't care. But I don't watch the old Sausage Factory stuff at all. Hell, I'm probably better off. I mean, a couple times I can remember people in the comments being pretty rude to me, but so I don't want to engage with that. Although I mean, it wasn't in too many. I don't know. I had strong opinions. I knew I was going to rub some people the wrong way. I don't have any regrets. I guess. Well, I didn't. Yeah, so that's the angle that I'm working here. I don't know how long you're walking. I decided, just because this is more of a mic check than really anything serious, I would do a different thing and put on a movie that I don't like. I don't like this movie. I don't like any M. Night Shyamalan movies. But this is not one I hate the way I hate some of his others. But I definitely think it's very bad. I do. I mean, there's a few times where I kind of regret the way I expressed myself, though. Or I got too caught up or swept up. I mean, not too many times. Most of the time I could dial it back. There are a few times. I don't know. I know I would argue with B-Movie Mike quite a bit. And sometimes I don't like how I came off in those exchanges. But, it is what it is. And I know Mike never had any ill will toward me. So I guess it's fine. Right. Lucius Hunt. That's Joaquin Phoenix. And we know. I still don't know what his big rejection of Judy Greer's character was. I guess it's not important. Noah is right. So he's thinking, yeah, maybe there could be medicines in the outside world to help Noah. And that does bring up an interesting point. He doesn't know what he's living in, but it is true. Is this the best environment for somebody like Noah, somebody with some mental deficiencies? I know, contemporary times we can't really cure that, but he could be better cared for, probably, than forcing him to live in the 19th century with everything that entails. So that's an interesting thing that I hadn't thought of before, that he brings up without even knowing the situation. Because their whole thing is like they don't know about the big lie, but they do know that there's a world out there that they are isolating themselves from. So that's an interesting point that maybe I didn't get the first time I watched this movie. Free to receive interest from everyone. Oh, it's so old-fashioned and quaint. Truth is, like, when this is done well, I like a lot of that stuff. I don't need a horror element or anything. Like, I like a lot of contemporary things, not contemporary, period piece things. And I don't necessarily even mean like important things like that have like battles in them. I mean like one of my favorite miniseries, and they made a decent movie of it in 2005 with Keira Knightley. But I think it's too long to really be in a single movie. Is Pride and Prejudice. I love Pride and Prejudice. I like that stuff a lot, and I really think that the A&E miniseries they did in the mid '90s is really excellent. That's got I'm gonna forget everybody's name. Colin Firth is in there. It's really good. So I mean, I like stuff like that, and I know a lot of my peers and people I hang out with and talk movies on. That's never going to be their thing, but I like a lot of that stuff quite a bit. This is different though. This is a thriller, or whatever you want to call it. Oh, there we go. So there's our first view of the others, or those I don't speak of, wearing a red cloak. I don't know how often they see them. Like, is it something they only break out once every few years when the young people get a little too restless or whatever? It's like, okay, we got to put the scare back in them. I don't know. Who is this? That's not Jesse Eisenberg. That's someone else. Ring the bells. Sound the alarm. All right. So, I mean, it's not like it's completely unheard of, because everybody knows exactly what to do, that they're all supposed to run out and go to the cellar of their houses. But Joaquin Phoenix, Lucius, he doesn't want to go hide. He wants to find things out. Oh, there's Judy Greer again. So she gets... Oh, is she related to Noah? Maybe she's Noah's sister. Oh, who gives a fuck? Lucius is taking everything seriously. He's helping people get inside and all that, but the curiosity is tugging at him. Oh, we do get... Okay, so it seems like they're weird humanoid things with spiny things in the back. Now I look at it, it reminds me of the Skeksis. It looks like a human-sized Skeksis from The Dark Crystal. I remember this was a big part of the trailer, them getting down the cellar with it, and it's like, don't let them in. Oh, so scary. Okay, Ivy is the name of Bryce Dallas Howard, our mystical blind girl. She can't see, so she's not as afraid as the other people, I guess. I don't know. What are you doing? Scratching and growling, apparently. Helpful. Right, I mean, that's really... When you think... Don't let them in. Down she goes. Is like, when you think about it, it's all about people trying to start their own society away from other society to have a better thing, and yet the only way they feel they can make it work is by controlling the populace that don't know with fear. as I said, I wonder, like, it'd be weird enough to be any of these people who like live their life not knowing, and then at the end, like, but imagine being like one of the kids. And I mean, yeah, the kids, for them, it hasn't been as long as some of the older people who. We're not sure where the age cutoff is. Like, obviously, yeah, Bryce Dallas Howard and Joaquin Phoenix, I guess they're like early 20s. They're too young. I think this experiment's been going on for about 25 years, something like that. I don't know, or whatever you want to call it. But yeah, they have this idea for a better society and to protect people from the evils of the world. The whole thing is, well, we're not going to tell them. Well, won't they want to leave? Well, we'll just come up with a way to scare the piss out of them so that they don't. And we'll unwittingly build up all this mythology. And we'll even have a forbidden color, red. That's the color, that's the bad color. And those that we don't speak of, I don't know. Eventually we'll get a little more exposition, I think, where William Hurt's character is going to talk about and say, like, something like how we have an understanding with these creatures. It's, you know, that they have some sort of like human intelligence. Like, they will leave us alone as long as this law or whatever's, I don't know. They were warning us to act as if threatened. Again, you know, you kids were getting out of line, so, oh, the red mark on the door. Nice. Yeah, fear-mongering is a good way. It's like, can anybody think of a reason? Now, what are they really mad about? They're trying to find something out. Tugging at my arms. Big town meeting. Here we go. What does the note say? Oh, somebody is admitting. Oh, saying that they crossed into the woods. Oh. Okay, so that must be Joaquin. That must be Lucius writing a note saying that it was his fault because he walked into the woods. We're at 36 minutes, a little past 36. Oh, and he even signed it. Okay, he signed Lucius' note. Okay, I thought it was going to be like an anonymous thing. So isn't Lucius in the room, or why write a note if he couldn't just come to this meeting and say it? If he wasn't trying to hide that it was him. Well, he's in the room, so it seems a little weird that he wrote the note. I guess he didn't have the courage to stand up and say it out loud. Oh, right, because he's so quiet. He doesn't like to talk, so I guess public speaking is too much for him. And of course, you know, they don't want to punish him too much for this. Has anybody ever seen something like this? Like the Amish or somebody like doing this, having like a big outside meal with long tables. This feels like something I witnessed in my life, in real life, but can't recall the details. But maybe I didn't. Maybe it was just movies like this. But I almost feel like I was there. Like I saw at some point or took part in something like that, but I couldn't tell you. They're going to throw like a big hunk of. I don't think they have cows. They must have cows. I don't know. A big hunk of something in the woods. I mean, obviously they have some. They've got chickens and things like that. They must have cows. I think I saw a pig. Ooh, look at those fashion styles. Don't show off your ankles, girl. Oh, is somebody getting married? I mean, there's not too many people there. Must be very hard to like make this work properly. I mean, how many people live in this village? It doesn't even seem like there's 100 of them. I guess there's good things and bad things about that. The bad thing is there's not much variety of people, but on the good side is when there's a lack of options, it could actually help you out if you're not too appealing yourself. I think that's how a lot of people end up getting married. It's like, well, this is the best we could do. Marriage is mostly compromise. As I say, as an outsider who's never been married. You know, Judy Greer bounced back quickly from her horrible devastation of being rejected by Lucius. But again, as I said, there's so what does that mean? She's not going to squeeze my shirt like that, is she? But he's like, blind people are always touching things. It freaks me out. That's weird. Suddenly, Sigourney Weaver looks a lot younger than she did at the start. I guess it's just the way she has her hair. They're really committed, I have to say. Like, the elder people that are all part of this, like, I guess if you speak like this long enough, it just becomes normal. So, like, we really had to sell this to the younger people that don't know. They still haven't talked much about, like, their reason for doing this. Because at some point, I know he's going to lecture them and be like, we came from the towns and this person was murdered. He's telling a version of the truth. A lot of them had, tragedies, people murdered or killed by drunk drivers or whatever. I don't know. It's fuzzy. It's been so long. Let's all have a fun dance. Anything like this will remind you of something like movie that I really wanted to like and was really disappointed with was Midsummer. I thought I would like Midsummer going in because I love cult type shit, but I did not really care for it. I think one of the things that worked against it was that there couldn't be any nighttime scenes or dark scenes because, the point of the movie is that they're up there and the sun doesn't go down and they're trying to cultivate. I'm not saying you can't have scary stuff without dark, but there's just no dark in the movie at all. I think that hurt it a bit. I don't know. I really wanted to like Midsummer. I watched it multiple times just in case, there was something I was missing. But in any case, it's okay. I certainly like it a lot better than something like this or anything M. Night Shyamalan's done. But I was disappointed because that director had done a movie before that I liked a lot. I can't think of its title. Anyway, the one before it I still like quite a bit. Wow, they're really trying to sell this, so they're going to have their own happy celebration interrupted? Oh, right. No, this one is a prank, I think. This is where it gets confusing. Is this a prank? Let's see. I'll just have to see how this plays out. Maybe I'm wrong. You are certain. That seems to hint that William Hurt did not authorize this, so what's going on? So maybe this is somebody playing a prank. I can't remember. Been too long. Those boys say for sure they're in the village. Those of whom we do not speak. Yeah, I don't know how well this is streaming video-wise. It's another thing I'll have to play back. But I haven't got one of those messages, well, not messages, but on the top here on StreamYard, sometimes it will show me sort of the strength of the connection, and it's always pretty weak. It hasn't really done that. And the only precaution I took this time, something I hadn't thought about, was looking up ways to maybe stream a little better. I was talking about crowding the network. I'm like, well, there's not really much on my network. But before this, I turned the Wi-Fi off on my phone, so maybe that helps. I don't know. Oh, what's there, Lucius? Dead animals hanging up. Oh, a lot of them. If it's a prank, it's pretty elaborate. Yeah. Okay. The fact that they're talking proves that, yeah, that it can't be them. So there's another thing, a scene where once you know what's happened, the scene takes on different meaning. No, it's not coyotes. I mean, I think I remember when seeing this in the theater that there were moments of genuine tension. I think that is something M. Night Shyamalan was at least decent at. Because as stupid as Signs is, like if you buy into Signs, it can get pretty tense and suspenseful in places, I guess. Although rewatchability is kind of no good. But I always love seeing mist and fog in woods. I live in Halifax, which is a super foggy place, but it's different in the woods. I mean, yeah, I'm right on the water. Harbor's right there. Late at night or early in the morning, some big ship will its foghorn. We'll hear it all throughout. But it's a different thing to be out in the woods and see the mist. It is pretty cool and very atmospheric. You see Lucius growing a little closer to Ivy. Trying to get these names down so I'm not always saying actors' names. We're pretty far into the movie for me to still be struggling with the names, but I don't care that much. I do long to do boy things. Ooh, the daring game on standing on the stump. Well, there shouldn't be anything that would really stop you from doing that. Oh, he's the record holder. Wow. He's way better than holding the record. He actually walked a few feet into the woods. He's the champ. He's a legend. Yeah, in addition to Joaquin Phoenix, who I'd imagined as being a Harvey Dent, if you go back even further, if you go back to before they even cast Batman Begins, I remember the person I wanted to play Batman was Guy Pearce at the time. Still think he could have done it, but I mean, Christian Bale probably was better. Guy Pearce eventually worked his way into the Marvel universe. He's in Iron Man 3, which a lot of people forget is not a very memorable villain. Just too bad. And this was not an original idea. Well, this was idea of mine, but also around that time when they were talking about Batman Begins, and maybe even after, because there was a gap of a couple years before they did The Dark Knight. Was a lot of people wanted Paul Bettany to play the Joker, which again I think would have been interesting. Paul Bettany probably also could have made a good Riddler, in the right sort of thing. No, I'm not excited for Halloween Kills. I did not. I did not like the last one. I thought, I can enjoy the 2018 one if I shove aside the things that bother me. Like I don't like them wiping out the continuity. But okay, let's say they do, and this is a sequel only to the first one. I'm okay with it. A lot of it is done pretty well, but it's funny. I haven't seen it since Halloween. I haven't seen. Or right, this one was Halloween Kills. The next one's Halloween Ends, right? This was Halloween Kills. So Halloween Kills. I've had a lot of it's there for me. It's on Crave or something, and I have not wanted to rewatch it since I saw it in the theater. It's the busiest slasher I've ever seen in my life. So much is going on in that movie. Like there's flashbacks and retcons and subplots and and there's the body count is so high. Like I don't think there's any room for any sort of build up of tension or atmosphere. It's just go, go, go. Like Michael's just mowing down people. Sometimes in large groups, which is I always think a big no in slashers. Like the scene where he comes out and kills a bunch of firefighters, that's fine. Like I think you can get away with it like once per movie, but he does it a whole bunch of times. No, I'm not at all excited for Halloween Ends. I will dutifully see it in the theater because I saw the other two in theater, and why the hell not? But I don't know. I really felt like while I was willing to accept their premise in Halloween 2018, but when they did Halloween Kills, I was just really annoyed by how busy it was. And man, all those retcons, they're like, let's go back to 1978 again and show some other stuff. Because I mean, they even addressed some stuff that I wondered about. Because I said, if they're sweeping aside Halloween 2, they're saying like right after Halloween Ends, instead of him disappearing, they just arrest him, and they're like, no, more stuff happened. He healed more people, but I don't care. Like, remember Lonnie? Let's see Lonnie grown up. Oh my god. And Tommy sucks, by the way. Isn't that great? He's a loudmouth moron, and everybody's chanting "Evil dies tonight" and all that. No, did not like Halloween Kills. Was really annoyed by it. I need to watch it again just to refresh myself on it before this, but it does not make me feel good about Halloween. Halloween is my favorite slasher series, so I take them a lot more seriously. Like I don't get really upset or annoyed as much about stuff in other slasher series. I finally saw Scream 5. I thought it was pretty good. I was expecting nothing, and it was probably better than 4, I thought. Most people don't really care that much about Scream, but Scream is probably my second favorite slasher series, honestly. Yeah, I always loved Guy Pearce. Yeah, I think he could have been a good Batman back in 2005, but it's fine that he wasn't. It worked out. But I had a few things. I even and once again, when we're talking in between movies, if we're talking because again, there's a gap between The Dark Knight and The Dark Knight Rises. I even just for fun like wrote a bit of a script for like a possible third movie. It was going to be very different. It's going to have Black Mask as the villain, who they would eventually put in the Harley Quinn movie and Birds of Prey movie and just ruin. But I had a very true to the comics Black Mask in it, and I was going to have a possible origin of the Riddler. It was going to be very different, also from the comics. So I was going to have this idea that this FBI agent had been assigned, and he was in Gotham, and I can't even remember what he was working on exactly, but he became obsessed with just trying to figure out who Batman was. I was going to have that, and I was going to really break taboos by not only having a Robin, which of course Christopher Nolan never meant to do, but to start with start in the middle with the second and least popular Robin, Jason Todd. Not that I like Jason Todd that much. In fact, I don't like him nearly as much as the other Robins. I just thought maybe he might fit into the world a little better. So I had this whole little script thing of the idea of like Black Mask sort of saying like the Joker had the right idea of terrifying the fuck out of everybody, but he was crazy and didn't care about money or power. But I do care about money or power. So it's going to be like him taking over and Batman sort of reluctantly recruiting Jason and not getting in. And in the meantime, Edward Nygma, like an FBI agent, becoming more and more obsessed. I never finished it. I wrote about 2/3 of it. It was just for fun. But it was set in the Nolan world. It was, as a sequel to The Dark Knight with all those characters and things in it. Anyway, so here's the big thing that's happened in this movie is, for some reason, he's been stabbed. Was Joaquin Phoenix stabbed? I was talking a lot about different stuff there, but anyway. But that's what's going to make things move forward here. So our harmless idiot has stabbed somebody. I assume it was Joaquin Phoenix that was stabbed. Lucius. Stabbed by Noah? Can't get the names right. Smells blood on his hands? Oh, yeah. And you say, oh, the bad color. It's the bad color. Beautiful. Oh, even a little bit of drool. You are the master, Adrian Brody. I mean, that's the other thing about like how moral is it to live in this world where they limit their own. I mean, what the hell is childbirth like in this place? Like, they're literally encouraging people to like take their lives in their hands. Like, childbirth would be very difficult in a place like this. Like, the old ways are the best ways. Yeah, sure. Where the mother bleeds out if it's a breech birth or something. Ivy, I guess, instinctively knows that it's Lucius that's been stabbed at him. Yeah, I wasn't expecting to like Scream 5, but I did, and I thought it was probably better than 4. Better characters. I mean, it takes the focus a little off the classic characters, which I think is probably the right thing to do anyway, but they're just better characters. Scream 4 like has no good characters except the originals. Some things are, I mean, with that much passage of time, it is weird though. Like seeing, I never remember the actress's name, but I think she's only in Scream 3 before this, but she was Randy's sister, and seeing her like middle aged with like teenage kids is weird to me. And I mean that's what the actor would be, but I just because I'm so used to her sort of perpetually as like a teenager, even if she's in her 20s, sort of playing that because she's like in Scream 3, although a very small role, but she's also sort of the awkward friend in both the Princess Diaries and what's the other one I like so much, Saved, which you can see me do a lot of commentary on my channel of. I did Saved a while ago because it's one of my favorite movies. Yeah, I can't remember her, but anyway, so that's like 3 roles all around that time. It's kind of like a Jenna Malone thing for me, who, by the way, is the main person in Saved. It's like I'm so used to seeing her like as a teenager. She's in United States of Leland and that, and at least a couple other things. So it's kind of jarring to me to see like Jenna Malone like in her late 30s or whatever she is now. All right, so yeah, Lucius has been found. He's stabbed. It's pretty bad. So they don't have the. What the fuck does that mean? The blind woman says she cannot see his color. I'm sure once again this is Shyamalan thinking he's being deep. She has her own way of seeing colors. Oh, blind people always see more than we do without eyes. I hate that shit. So our doctor, a woman named Mrs. Clack, who is not a doctor, says he's probably screwed. But that's okay. Prayers and good thoughts. That kind of, I could now leave it. So now we're at a little past 57 minutes. I feel like so much has happened. How is there so much movie left? I feel like there's only one thing left to do. How are they going to stretch this shit out? Somebody tell the blind woman her shirt is covered in the bad color. It doesn't mean just because she's blind. She deserves dignity. Is there any point to talking to Lucius? You make him vow not to strike anybody, and then he stabbed. Oh, wow. That's, yeah. She's like, okay, stop hitting the mentally retarded guy who's not responsible for his actions. I don't think that's helping anyone. Good job. Better than Texas, I guess. In Texas, they'd fry him. It's too bad because, I mean, again, I like this aesthetic. Like, this is obviously sometime in maybe November. It's like late fall before it gives way to winter. I always find that, and also this part of the world, like the ultimate example, and the movie counts too, but I just mean just the original story, the Washington Irving. The Legend of Sleepy Hollow. I love that. And actually, that's the one Tim Burton movie I really like. Is I love that Sleepy Hollow because I'm just a big fan of that whole atmosphere. I always watch it around November, the start of November, a little after October ends. You wait for some more of the leaves to fall, the trees to get a little more bare. I love that. I love stuff set there like that's someplace in rural New York State in the 18th century. Big fan of that. So again, I'm sure I thought of that too when I watched this movie, or I heard about this movie. So I like the aesthetic, and then it's just a big letdown. The Devil's Advocate. Now that's a movie I saw like in 1997 and never again. So I remember like nothing. Al Pacino's in there. Like I was like 14, 15 years old when I saw that and never saw it again. Once again, these scenes have more weight to them now. It's like, if there were no limitations, what could be done? What do you mean, no limitations? What are you talking about? Magic, I guess. But we know. We know what he means. It seems odd that in like 20-some years is the first time something like this has come up for them. Well, we get him to the Mayo Clinic. If we flew him in there on the Concorde. Or if we had jetpacks, maybe. I like how their solution is, well, the blind girl wants to go get help, and since she's blind, that works kind of for us. Of course, it's super dangerous, but we're really committed to this thing. So they're hovering around it right now. They're still talking about going to the towns. So we're still buying into this deception a little bit. You cannot break the oath. Yeah, so she's saying like he shouldn't. Yeah, you never thought crimes might happen either? Ugh. Should eat more today. Just sitting here and I feel weak. Some very orderly crops. Those cabbages all in a nice row. But I mean, that's how you do it. That's not different. I think anybody would tell you, yeah, you would want them in a straight line and not haphazard. I'd be a pretty bad farmer. For many reasons. All right, so she wasn't born blind. She became blind. So that's another thing he had to struggle with. Like, maybe he could have gotten her some sort of medical help that would have kept it from happening. I don't know. Oh, finally a little backstory. Grandfather. The wealthiest man in the towns. Well, kind of. Sure. She's like, what are dollars again? You told me. Yeah, so that's their like one of the main motivations thing. It's like, oh, his dad was wealthy, and I guess somebody killed him. See here, and everybody has their own. Well, all the elders have their own sob story, but how they lost loved ones in some way to the evils of this wicked modern world we live in. She's like, and guns are, well, what are guns again? I mean, that's, I guess, one good thing about this society is they don't have guns. But if they do have guns, wouldn't the younger people start saying, hey, we're worried about those of who we not speak. But if we had some firepower, Maybe we can protect ourselves. And they're like, oh no, I wouldn't do it again. You just think of all like he just told her about guns, so obviously they know something about guns. So, it's interesting when you really break down like how much they let slip about the outside world. Obviously, they know there is an outside world. They just don't know how different it is. They're just like, oh, there's towns and people are wicked, and they use money. The root of all evil. This is really dragging. I have to say, like, I was wondering how. Oh, is he telling? No, he's not. This is confusing. I'll just have to see what happens because my memory is. Because this don't scream. Because it almost seems like he's going to let her in on the secret, but we know that she's not in on the secret. Or did he? I don't know, because she acts so afraid when she's in the woods. But I mean, if he told her, oh, there are no actual weird monsters in the woods, why does she eventually start reacting to like every? I don't know. In any case, you have to think, I'm leaving to fetch you medicine. So you have to think, like, this is so contrived that this is what we're at. It's like, well, we're not willing to bend our rules or anything. And for some reason, one of us can't do it, even though that makes the most sense. So we will send the blind girl who thinks that she's living in 1897. So we can't allow that? And I decided to let her, because I like putting things in God's hands. That's why I started this crazy thing. I do like their yellow cloaks. Of course, I just like cloaks. You can't go down to the store and buy a cloak. And if I went out in a cloak, people think I was crazy. But I was always very jealous of the hobbits and the people in the Lord of the Rings that had those cool cloaks with the gray and the hood. I mean, that's what a cloak is. It's a hood, but also like a cape. Sometimes I put my hood up in my hoodie and pretend I'm in a cloak because I am a nerd. I'll always wear hoodies. If I live to be 100, I'll always wear hoodies. So what does she have here? What? Yeah. I'm more tired than I expected to be. Maybe that's why I'm getting impatient with the movie. But no. I'm impatient with the movie because it's not good. Because this whole 15 minutes could have been like done in like 2. But anyway, boom, there, she's finally leaving. Those 2 guys sure are brave. They're like, all right, see you, blind girl. We won't even say good luck. You know, one of them's following her. Stop. Oh, so they're supposed to go with it? Oh, magic. Oh, that's right. They gave her magic rocks. Okay. That's a very good question. Why haven't we heard of these rocks before? Kristoff, stop questioning things or everything falls apart. The cloak of the safe color. She's like, look, I'm blind and I can't quite remember color, so you guys are being mean talking about it in front of me. Fitim and Kristoff. Not Kristoff, Kristoff. I mean, honestly, you guys didn't have to give them weird, old-timey names. They don't know. They'll believe whatever you set for them, but I guess they're like, we're going to do this by the book. We're really going to follow things. 1870s or whatever, I don't know. Plus, it works out pretty well. Kind of like the Amish anyway, right? Because you think about all the breakthroughs that were made in the early part of the 20th century in physics and stuff like that started to change people, how they viewed the world and the universe and all that. It's like, well, Maybe that's going on now, but we would know about it anyway because we're in an isolated village. The sun travels around the earth, and, right? Okay, so she does set off with two. But couldn't they have picked two braver people? These guys are just like whimpering and crying the whole time. I mean, this is how afraid they are. They're like, we're going to abandon you because we're afraid. But don't worry, they won't go after you because you're blind. They'll take pity on you. I mean, Jesus, couldn't they have sent her with somebody more brave? I get that Joaquin Phoenix can't do it because he's the one that was stabbed. But I guess they just did a really good job on the young people to like make them absolutely fucking terrified. So terrified that two young men will abandon a blind girl because they're so worried about themselves. And he keeps trying to justify it. You're really good in these woods, everybody knows. And they'll leave you alone, they'll pity you, blah, blah, blah. I'm just trying my best to justify abandoning you to these monsters in the woods and you're blind. But what did we say about you being blind? It heightens your other senses, and you see more than most people with eyes do, and you're such a deep soul. Yeah, I feel good about this. Good luck. She pours the magic rocks out. Right, because she does know the truth. Well, part of the truth. She knows one truth. He doesn't tell her the whole truth, but he does say, oh, there are no others. Yeah, because now we're flashing back to the try your very best not to scream. He's going to show her the costumes that the elders run around in. So I guess she can't feel too bad about them abandoning her. I mean, she still shouldn't feel great. But she knows something they don't. I mean, I'm sure some people watching the movie at this point are like, what? They keep these things? Those we do not speak of with their long talons. Farce. That's a good word. You get a look at them, they have like pig faces. So when you see their faces, obviously, I can't think of the Skeksis anymore. But when we were just seeing it from the back and the side with the quills and the talons, it made me think of the Skeksis. But you look at them far, they have like weird pig or. Screams from the woods? You know, we do that. How did you make those sounds? Oh, you know, satellite radio. I love the. It'd be awesome if he had like a secret basement that was like full of like TV and internet and video games and everything, and a big sofa. Skin animals. Yeah, well, we do that. We skin the animals. You know, just to scare the hell out of the young people. Yeah, so he's saying. You know, she knows a different kind of darkness. It's called blindness. But now that I'm saying them out loud, it seems like they were very harmful lies. Now that I think about this logically for the first time in 25 years, this was really dumb and dangerous and kind of cruel. So what he explains to her here is, you know, so it won't look too bad for appearance's sake. We'll send two boys into the woods with you, and we'll tell them about magical rocks. What does he need? I don't even know what he needs. They say it's common, though. Something that maybe slows bleeding or something? Half-day's journey. You really think about that. A half-day's journey in the woods. That's not easy for anyone. Now imagine being blind and dressed in stupid 19th century clothing. I mean, I haven't hiked in a long time, but I used to hike, and you want to have good gear for that. Especially like footwear. You have some good boots. You can't go with him, or why? Oh, now once again he's trying to justify. He's like, well, you love this boy, so you're gonna do this. She's like, isn't there some other way this could be done? Nah. Man, they play a lot of head games with her, even when they tell her the truth, or some of the truth. Ah, yes, fresh cloth's good. Okay, so Alice, that's Sigourney Weaver's name. Now that we're like in the final act of the movie, I finally know all the main characters' names. Does Lucius not have parents or anyone that cares about him? They probably died from like infected cuts. Like my dad got snagged on a nail coming out of the barn. He died. Does anybody in the village have allergies? That would be fun. Nothing we can do for you. The other elders are not happy. I won't say that the premise is completely unbelievable, even if it is a little out there. You know, it calls to mind something like the famous story, The Lottery, or something, right? Which has been twisted into various other versions of stories. Even like Stephen King did something similar with like Children of the Corn. Or how about the classic British film, The Wicker Man? It's always the same idea. Isolated communities are weird. And a lot of them are culty and sacrifice people. I mean, these people are a lot less sinister than that. They're more dumb and innocent. So, if you view it from that lens, I suppose the premise is not too stupid, but still does not work for me. I will definitely say there's stupider premises out there. And while I don't like any of the characters in this movie, none of them piss me off the way most characters in M. Night Shyamalan movies piss me off. Like, they're all fine. They're bland and forgettable and fine. And as I said, the fact that they're all speaking in this sort of antiquated dialect actually makes the dialogue not so bad. Because the rest of the time, when he's doing a contemporary style story, his dialogue is fucking painful. Never forget Mark Wahlberg. What? No. That entire movie, The Happening, Mark Wahlberg, who is at least a decent actor, is like stumbling through like this confused look on his face, and everything he says sounds like a question, even if it's not. He's always like raising his voice. He's like, huh? What? What's going on? Let's go over here. Let's go over here is a statement, not a question mark. They really get mileage out of that title, too. People are like, whatever is happening is happening. This is happening. What's happening? You're happening. Fuck. Some great moments in those movies. Like, how about Devil, where the religious security guard realizes the only thing that can explain what's going on is that the devil is in the elevator because he threw a piece of toast and it landed jam side down. He's like, holy shit, there is proof that it is Satan. And we're just supposed to buy that. Because that is what it is, but I mean, Jesus. I mean, the very worst is definitely Lady in the Water, which is the most contrived, awful bullshit, making it up off the top of your head as you go shit I've ever seen. She's a nerf. She has to get to Scuzzy Wuzzy Town because the blarg blah blarg is kind of like there was no thought put into the names of anything. It just is all garbage. It's hilariously bad. Like you can actually enjoy Lady in the Water just because of how fucking stupid it is. And I love how like M. Night Shyamalan thinks he's being subtle. He's in it himself, playing a writer who's always misunderstood. There's a guy in it who's a film critic, and they make him really unlikable and douchey, and of course he gets killed. It's like, we get it. You're not happy with your critics, Mr. Shyamalan. Although I think they kind of have a point. Oh, she fell in a big sinkhole. Well, she's dead. She would be. She's holding on to the root. Yeah, that's the other thing. If these guys don't go out in the woods in the last 20-some years, they're not even aware of something. Like, maybe this sinkhole wasn't there before. So what are the stakes at this point if you're watching the movie for the first time? You know that there are no others. You know she's still in a great deal of danger, but I don't know. It seems like I understand the plot has to flow in a certain way, but it feels like they've robbed the movie of the most tension because, like, now we know that she knows that she's not threatened by these things. So, although there's still tension and drama in her just trying to get through the damn woods, especially when there are giant sinkholes like that. I don't know. It's like all the scary stuff's pretty much over. Now it's just a race against time type movie. Will she save her love? Blah, blah, blah. Yes, that is the edge of the hole. I mean, we know what that is. What's she supposed to make of that? Maybe don't toss your cane aside like that. What's he talking about? Like the Jersey Devil or some shit? Rumors of creatures. Because he's saying, it does come from something. There were, like, at least legends that are creatures. Let's see here. So we're at an hour and 21 minutes. Still about 20 minutes to go. Yeah, life expectancy always gets skewed by things. Like, a lot of people, like, misread the data. Like, they think, like, somebody like living to be like 65 or something was almost unheard of in like medieval times, but it's not true. That's not on what it is. It's the fact that the infant mortality rate and child mortality rate was so high it drags down the average. Doesn't mean nobody made it, or that if you were 50 you were an old man. It's just that it was a lot more common for young people to die. But it didn't mean like once you got to a certain age you were, I mean, obviously you were vulnerable, but still, it's not quite what people thought, or at least what some people think. Lady in the Water fascinates me because it's so horrifically bad. Like, everything feels like he's just making it up off the top of his head as it's being shot, and all the actors are like, I mean, everything is so contrived and stupid. There's a kid who's reading some sort of special legend off the back of cereal boxes at one point. I mean, it's unbelievable. There's all these dumb arbitrary rules for like why the wolf thing is trying to kill the narf, and oh, she's surrounded by the bad color. But again, is that scary at this point? We know she doesn't have to worry about that. And she also, even if she did, she can't see it. So this would work pretty well, I guess, in the preview. Oh, she's in an area surrounded by the bad color. But we all know it means nothing, even before we know the main twist. Ah, I see. This is what I forgot. It does tie into the part that was unauthorized. It's like, holy shit, it is real. Okay, so this is what I forgot. It seems like, oh, maybe the things are real and he didn't know and they're really out there. But yeah, I remember now. Just one, right? So I did forget this part, which does change things. This is where the movie might hijack you for a minute. And you're like, what? He said they're not real. It puts a little seed of doubt in there. Or maybe not doubt, the other thing. Possibility. Now, it's easy enough to act blind in these moments because she's disoriented and in the woods. So, okay, fine, walk like this. But the rest of the movie is really painful watching her act like a blind person. She's a resourceful blind person because she remembers how far to the hole. The whole thing here is she's going to trick the creature into falling into the hole. I give them credit for a bunch of just ordinary people trying to do this weird scam. They had although maybe the costumes were made before they even left. That's the other thing. Like how much of this was planned when they went out? Like, did they already have like these costumes and the whole idea before they did everything, or was it something they developed over time? It's like, geez, we need something to scare the young people so that they won't ask questions or go anywhere. Like, we don't get to know that, right? Okay, so she feels it's not even that, she just feels the familiar part of the fallen tree. So she knows that means she's close to the hole. Okay. Some of this does make sense. You know, Bryce Dallas Howard actually looked the part of Gwen Stacy. Too bad she was so wasted in the disaster that is Spider-Man 3. Like, she looked good. She looked like a Gwen Stacy. Oh, Toro, Lay. Noah's not there. Noah House. A long time ago, Noah figured out how to escape his quiet room. I get it. He found one of the suits under the floorboard. Yeah, it's a little hard to understand Noah. I mean, I get the whole thing is you can't really because he's mentally disabled. But it does seem kind of weird that a guy who's been mostly gentle stabs somebody out of nowhere and then decides to put on one of the costumes and attack the girl that's like the nicest to him. But I don't know. How you doing, Noah? Are you impaled? Noah can speak, but he chooses not to here. Are they trying to say his mental state has deteriorated? And anyway, I guess he's going to die, so maybe he couldn't be... Okay, he dies a lot faster than I remember. So maybe he just didn't have the strength to speak. Oh, so stupid. Well, there's no point in looking down because you're blind. So I don't know what she's supposed to think at this point. She can't see the costume, but she knows something came after her for sure. So some way to confirm that it's Noah? I don't think so. Noah is, by the way, the name I almost was named. My mother wanted to name me Noah, but she changed her mind and gave me a different name. I'm glad, because to me, Noah just... It's funny, because my name is biblical. Well, my other name is biblical. But it's not. But Noah just reminds me so much of the Old Testament. Even though my other name is also Old Testament. But some names that are biblical don't... Yeah, they don't sound as old. Some people don't even know it is. But Cole's a good name. So we'll use that. I'm just glad I didn't get named Noah. It's not a terrible name or anything. And it's pretty good that she can figure out this is a road. I mean, it's barely a road, although she would not have any experience with roads at all, really. There's no roads in the village, there's paths. So this is kind of like a path. And she goes by feel. Okay. Not saying that's not believable. I get it. Blind people can be capable and they can figure stuff out through feel. Oh my god, get on with this. So right before the big reveal here, allegedly Ryan in the theater turned to someone who was not me, someone who else we were with. I don't know how many of us were there, maybe 4 or 5 of us possibly. And he said something like, "Imagine like a car goes by." I don't know. Anyway, and then it happened. So I'm not even sure if he was just guessing or what. But at this point, Shyamalan had the reputation that you're supposed to expect a twist. So I don't know. We already had one twist, and then we had something that seemed like a twist, but was actually just a fake out. But now there's another twist. And of course, we're going to see M. Night Shyamalan himself, because he always has to put himself in his movies, which is fine. I'm not saying that's the worst thing in the world. Although sometimes the roles he chooses for himself are a bit much. So one of my favorite jokes in all the stupid scary movie parodies is in, I think, 3. And it's a part where they're parodying not this one, but Signs. And they have like Charlie Sheen sort of doing the Mel Gibson character thing. Like he was a what was it? He was like a minister. He was like a minister who lost his faith because his wife got killed in an accident. And the whole thing is, and of course in Signs, is that M. Night Shyamalan plays the guy who killed his wife accidentally. Like hit her with his SUV or whatever like that. But so they're redoing sort of that scene, the flashback, the whole thing where Mel Gibson is supposed. Cole is not biblical now. My other name that I don't use here is biblical. Is the flashback, yeah. So where the cops catch him on the road and say, "There's been an accident. We had to take you to your wife." And so they redo that scene with Charlie Sheen. And after he has this stupid back and forth with, I think, I can't remember the actress's name, but she had been his real life for a while. She's a really bad actress, but she's really pretty. Anyway, they have this stupid scene with bad jokes, but as he's going by, they have the guy, just like in the original movie, I guess, is they have the guy that actually hit her, again, played by M. Night Shyamalan in the original. Oh, there's the big revealing photograph, which I guess is the 70s. It's clearly the 70s. So it's 2004, so maybe it's been about 30 years. Anyway, I'm getting off track. Is in the original movie, as he's going by, on the side, the cops have like the driver, and he's all like huddled up in like a blanket. But in the scary movie version, as he's going by, the guy calls out to Charlie Sheen. He's like, "Father, I'm going to need a ride home," which remains one of my favorite jokes. And there we go. The double reveal. There's the photograph. She hops the wall, and holy shit, there's a... Speaking of SUVs, well, that's not an SUV. I guess it's a Jeep. They're in a wildlife preserve. And it's 2004, god damn it. And this park ranger... I don't think he even knows. No, he doesn't know. Like, some of these people do know. But he doesn't know. He's like, "You can't go back there." He's like, "Vehicle? What's a vehicle?" He's like, "Please, I'm blind, and my whole life is a lie. And I think I'm in a different century." Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay, sorry. I'm so used to people knowing that, but yes, Raiho and I grew up together. We lived on the same street. We've been friends for over 30 some years. A lot of people don't get that. I've been pretty lucky. I mean, obviously we don't see each other as much, but I mean, yeah, that was one of the differences. Like, unlike a lot of the people I know on YouTube and stuff like that, like Ryan and I actually knew each other in real life, whatever. And yeah, we've been best friends for 30 some years. Yeah, grew up 2 doors down from each other. Hi, Biz. Nice of you to stop by. This is kind of a throwaway thing I'm just mostly doing to check a mic. I don't even remember if you remember, Biz, but you might remember that I hate M. Night Shyamalan, and I think this movie's stupid. I just thought I'd do it to do something different. So thank you for stopping by. I'm doing all right. We're getting ready for fall. That's always exciting for us. Oh, they're still talking. Jesus. Breaker, I've got a stupid, unbelievable plot twist going on here, and I need some help. Like, it's one thing that she's blind, but she also seems to be insane. My training as a park ranger does not prepare me for blind, insane people. Yeah, sure. Well, I guess that's a good enough word. It's all relative. I've been worse. Well, it's not magic rocks. What is it? Is it a pocket watch? He's even thinking, is like Ashton Kutcher going to jump out and yell in my face? It's 2004. That could be entirely possible. Am I via Elizabeth Walker? Of course, I don't have a birth certificate or any form of identification. But they must, I don't know. Considering they did make a deal with this, like, the government must have some sort of tabs on these people. Because the older people that came, they all have histories and backgrounds. Like, we're just going to start our own society and pretend the world doesn't exist. Okay. Oh, I also like that it's a reveal here too. Like, we don't see the face right away, as if it's a big treat for the audience that this guy he's talking to. Wait for it, because yeah, we have the camera behind him. I know, as I was saying, my training does not prepare me for this shit. Right, they can't have planes going by. Do they not show his face at all? No, maybe that's the thing. Oh, I don't think we do see his face. He's being so artistic here. Oh, he swings the camera around, but it doesn't quite. Oh, M. Night, you poet. You artist. Interesting fact about M. Night Shyamalan. He didn't come up with the idea for it, but he did like rework and touch up and finish the script for the movie She's All That. People will sometimes say he wrote She's All That. That's not. I mean, he didn't come up with it. He did refine it and write whatever the finished thing was. But he did not come up with the original story. But yes, in a manner of speaking, he wrote She's All That. It's a movie I know because I love Rachel Lee Cook. I might need a ladder. I bet you he thought that scene was brilliant. I mean, it's fine. It's fine. This is... Oh, let me do a big time jump here. She has an uneventful trip back. So yeah, he doesn't tell his supervisor exactly what happened. He just gives her stuff, gives her a ladder to go over the wall, and sends her on her way. He's sitting there thinking, I had a weird day. And of course, Lucius doesn't die, because that would be pretty lame if she went through all that for nothing. It's like, you're too late, he's dead. But I mean, if he died, that would also be a good reason for them to stop this. It's like, now we've gotten this far without like a death, that, a preventable death. But now we've had one, maybe we need to reevaluate some things. Oh, they're saying he's as good as dead, but he's not dead. There's a good chance my daughter's dead too. What I did was really stupid. Yeah. Well, we'll tell them that the creatures killed him. Shouldn't you send people out to look for Noah? No, I don't know. Wow, more of the justification going on, even to each other. Your son, his sacrifice was worth it, because now the people will definitely believe in the creatures and that they're dangerous. We've learned nothing. Oh, how much time we get? Okay, only a few more minutes to go. Oh, it's fucking painful. I didn't even pick one of the worst ones. I just picked one I hadn't seen in a long time. I mean, honestly, I wouldn't have the strength to do a live commentary, at least by myself. Maybe with other people, but by myself, there's no way I could do like something like The Happening or Devil or almost anything. Even Unbreakable, which most people think is a good movie, but I just can't. Unbreakable just makes me so frustrated. She made it. Joaquin Phoenix's name was like originally, I think, Leaf Phoenix, because they all had that theme, like besides River, and or I think maybe it's the other way around. Maybe he changed his name to Leaf because he wanted to fit in, and then boom, my Shyamalan film. What wonderful! I was going to say, Summer Phoenix. She's one of them. She was in a few movies. Did Summer Phoenix marry Casey Affleck? That sounds right. I don't know. Oh, look, it's suggesting signs. See, no, there's no fucking way. Yeah, so that's not a terrible movie. It's just a stupid movie, in my opinion. It was a great springboard for Jesse Eisenberg. He could go on to great things. What do we got in these credits? Some old tiny photos. Oh, that was it? I wanted to see more old. Oh, yeah, there we go. Some of these photos are really cool. It almost tricks you into thinking you watched something good. But anyway, it's good to know that the mic works, I guess. We'll see if it works better. As I said, I never had much trouble with needing a mic for streaming because I'm always quite close. See, I'm pretty close. Even when I was using the internal mic, it wasn't a problem. I've done this for years on a couple different laptops over the years, and I know I never really had too much of a sound quality issue. The issue is when I'm doing something like one of my own videos for a channel, like an unboxing or a review or something, and I'm further away. And what's funny is I didn't have it as much, but maybe it's because I was using the mic to this webcam, which I always thought was pretty good, but it seemed, and I think maybe it's more of a software issue. But anyway, if you watch any of my recent videos, they're, I think, unboxings, the audio is crap, and it's clearly because I'm far away. So that will be the real test, I guess. I don't expect this will have much difference. But this mic has a pretty long cord, so, I can have the camera back pretty far and have the mic. Plus, I mean, I look at it, it looks like, the type of mic, I could even put it on camera, but, it looks like something a radio DJ would have or something, it's pretty high end. It's not the highest end, you know. I figure you don't need super expensive ones because those are more like if you're doing recording for like music, right? Like if you're doing like recording of music and mixing and things like that. But I mean, this is definitely a good mic. It's actually a better one than I was going to get. There were a couple reasons. One, I had a couple gift cards, which helped, you know, soften the blow. And the other was, it actually was on sale for like $30 less than usual. And I thought, okay, you know, and you try to do research on these things, but there's just so much, it's overwhelming. And I also don't want to always just make the judgment, something's more expensive, therefore it is better, because that's not always the case. But still, I have high hopes for this mic. But as far as the streaming goes, where I'm close anyway, I doubt it would make much difference. So the real test will be in the next few days if I can record just a proper recorded video. We'll see how it works then when I'm a fair distance away. Yeah, see, I'd heard that about Scream 5. I was so expecting to not like it. I thought, you know, it's been too long. 4 wasn't very good. It's run out of steam. You know, I'm not going to find anything to like about it. And I'm not saying it was great or anything, but I definitely liked it and definitely thought it was better than 4. So, and I know it's a big thing that Sydney's not going to be in 6. And I feel bad about the situation because I think, what was it? Neve Campbell sort of stepped away because she felt like she wasn't being paid enough because of what other people were making. I don't know. I mean, I'm a Neve Campbell fan, so I'm always going to be on her side. But I just mean, as much as I love her and she's my favorite final girl, I almost feel like if the series is going to continue, that's the best way to do it anyway, is to step away from the characters and move on, is really. And I mean, what they did in killing one of the legacy characters, I mean, it is a little on the nose when they are literally having the character blabbing to us why they had to do it, so it would be taken seriously, you know, it's so meta, all that. But I mean, I'm okay with that too. I mean, it's still a little sad to see a character that had been around so long die. And I'm not saying, I mean, I would really get mad if they killed Sydney. So I'm just hoping, you know, for 6, they won't be like, oh, Sydney died off screen, which is what they did to Laurie, right? In Halloween 4 and 5, they're like, oh, she died like in a car accident or something. She's gone, you know. And that didn't bother as much because it's funny. Halloween's my favorite slasher series, but it doesn't have anything to do with the character of Laurie or that actress whose name I always forget. You know, I like Michael. That's why I like it's not so much her. And at least the one thing that happens with Halloween Ends is this will be the end of movies of dragging her back. You know, no more. But yeah, I kind of feel like the next Scream, it seems like that's the best path to take anyway, is to leave the old characters behind and start something new. But yeah, I liked 5. What's funny is, you know, 5 came out like in January, and I can't remember why I couldn't go see it, because I really wanted to go see it. I saw all the other Screams in theater, and I didn't see that in theater, which really bothered me. And I'm trying to remember the circumstances, but I can't. But anyway, I kept thinking, okay, it'll be streaming eventually. And it just never was. And here it was like the end of August, and I was like, I still can't watch this fucking thing. So I looked on Prime, and I saw that it was on Paramount Plus. So I did a free trial week of Paramount Plus, which is how I finally got to see it. I don't know. I'll probably buy it, actually, at some point. I own all the other Screams some way, although the original trilogy are in really old, crappy, bare-bones DVDs. I mean, honestly, I owe it to myself to get them on a decent Blu-ray. It's just that, you know, my main priority is books and comics, and movies often take a back seat. I bought a video game today, so, you know, movies usually aren't as high as those things, although in the last year I've made more of a commitment to that, although it's been with the martial arts movies. I even got a region-free player last Christmas, basically, so I could play a lot of British UK movies. Or UK edition movies, because they were the best way to get a lot of classic martial arts movies, a lot of like Jackie Chan and stuff like that, Sammo Hung. And I'll do commentaries for those eventually, but I don't want to do this by myself. Those would be more special. As I said, this was sort of a throwaway commentary one, just check the mic and just get something going. And I thought I would go in a different direction by doing a movie I really don't like. And I'll probably do that again at some point, you know, pick another movie I don't like. But for the most part, when I'm going to do live commentaries, particularly ones by myself, which I try to keep rare because it's not too interesting to just listen to me babble on. It's better to have somebody there with me. You know, I try to do movies I like. And that's reflected if you look at my channel over the last few months, some of the movies I've done that I just think are pretty cool. You know, not great movies, but nothing I would have to do a bunch of prep for, but just something that would be fun to do. So I did The Replacement Killers was the last one I did. A while before that, I did Grosse Pointe Blank. things like that I put on there. So anyway, that's going to do it for this. I thank anybody that joined me, especially Anthony. It was really great to have you along to help me through this, honestly, because if nobody was watching at all, I probably wouldn't have had as much to talk about. So I'm glad that you were here to ask me questions and bring up things. It really helps make this actually worth watching if anybody wants to watch this in the future. So thanks a lot for being around, and thanks to Piz for stopping by, and thanks to Jess for stopping by. Jess and I have something in the works too for a type of live commentary. That's the other thing. I've done some live commentaries on a series of animated movies with Jess, which is a lot of fun. So anyway, there's stuff to look forward in the future, and there was really supposed to be a movie discussion Pocket Dimension this week. It's my fault it didn't happen. So there's definitely going to be one next week. So anyway, thanks a lot for anybody that joined. Again, thanks a lot, Anthony Anderson. I've seen you around stuff. I didn't know you were so old school that you had been around watching the old Sausage Factory thing. So that's pretty cool. It's good. It's nice to know that to make the impression on people that even over years they still remember, want to check stuff out. It's flattering and humbling, because I know there's nothing special about any of us. We're just fans with some opinions and blah blah blah. So anyway, rambled on too long for something that was really supposed to be a mic test. So thanks a lot. That was The Village. It'll be a while again before I do anything I dislike, but I think I will do it again. Just shake things up. It's kind of interesting to do something I like. So thanks a lot. Peace out. We'll see you all again really soon with something probably better than this. Have a good night, everybody. Bye-bye.